Good afternoon and welcome to Hampden for the Premiership fixture against Ross County. I'm Chris Jack, delighted to once again be joined by Stevie Clifford. While Josh has another weekend off, he'll forget what colour Rangers playing by the time he next sees them. But now we're delighted to be here at Hampden. Hopefully an entertaining afternoon and hopefully 3 points, because it's non-negotiable for Rangers on the eve of the first Old Firm game next week. There's performances. It'd be nice to see it, but 3 points is huge for Rangers today.
All I'm going to say about Joshua is, see if this is at Ibrox. I'm not sure he's got a weekend away. So, listen, non-negotiable today. It'd be nice to get a performance, wouldn't it? So, just go and Clement talked about it yesterday. He wanted confirmation. That was what he said to me. Asked him about last week's performance. Now he wants confirmation. So, let's go and get that.
We will bring up your Rangers side for the game today. The line-up, as expected: Jack Butland in goal, the back four of Tavernier, Suter, Balogun and Jeffrey. Midfield two, Barron and Sterling. Tom Lawrence ahead of them. Cherney from the right, Matondo from the left, and Dessers through the middle. Stevie, any surprises for you in there? It's not the side that I picked, not the one that I expected. What stands out for you?
I'm probably Diamande not playing and being on the bench. I think that's the most interesting one, I think. And apart from that, we knew yesterday, obviously, then that Proper wasn't going to make it, so Balogun is sensible. Jeffy been in fine with Matondo. They played really well together last week. Sterling starting, right? I think it's a good thing. Obviously preempted what he's going to do next week. In my opinion, that's what he's wanting to do. I don't mind Tom Lawrence being in. I'm not entirely against it. We know that I'm not a huge fan of the 10. But my point is, do we really need Diamande, Sterling, Barron at home? I say at home, but against Ross County, I'm not sure that we do. So having Tom Lawrence on there and a more attacking option makes sense to me. Would I rather another number 10? Yes, I would. I think that's well documented, but I'm not going to sit and moan about Tom Lawrence, because I have done for quite a while and people will get bored. Matondo, I think it'll be his last performance today. And then Cherney on the right with Dessers up top. Fine. Okay, let's just go and get the game won. Build on last week, a good wee performance today, getting some goals and get the game won. Let's not have, this shouldn't be.
There's not any silliness.
We shouldn't have any nonsense, right? This shouldn't be an issue at all. So let's just go and get it done. What about you? What did you say? What surprised you? Because you said it was slightly different. What did you pick?
I'm fully on board with Robert's suggestion there. If it's 5-0, it's early intros all round. Derby goes home happy and Derby goes home nice and early. So, Robert, get your money on that. Yep. I thought the back fours, as I predicted, I had Diamande in for Lawrence and I had McCausland off the left-hand side, because, as you mentioned, we think Rabbi Matondo will be leaving the club. This should be his farewell appearance for Rangers. I do wonder if the Lawrence pick and Diamande being on the bench is just a hint for next week. Are you perhaps resting Diamande to come in and start at Parkhead? So your Parkhead three is Barron, Sterling and Diamande. The rest of the Rangers bench is Kelly as expected, Diamande, Dougal, King, McCausland, Fraser, McKinnon, Rice and Danilo. If there was a bench that sums up the lack of depth within this Rangers squad right now, there's not a lot of match winners on there, there's not a lot of game changers on there. It'd be nice to see Danilo get some more minutes, but again, he's not going to be a starter for Parkhead. McCausland could get a nod at Parkhead. And as I say, I think the Diamande at 10 would be interesting next week if the manager persists with that system. Apart from that, it's kind of as expected. I know there were some people in the comments, myself and Derek, put the team out this morning, or a predicted team. Robbie Fraser at left back, is that something you would have gone for, or do you think Jeffrey's getting another game there because it's more than likely that he'll play there next week? It just gives him another game in that.
I think it's probably that familiarity that he's went for. I actually tipped Robbie Fraser to play yesterday, so I am slightly surprised that he's not in there. But at the same time, again, what I said about the comment wise about Matondo and Jeffrey is that they did actually play well. So I think that you're right about the bench. There's a comment just there from Stuart Graham about no Lovelace. Zach Lovelace only played his first B team minutes at the Clyde game, and he came on for half an hour. That's his first minutes in over, I don't know, 6-7 months. Long time. Stuart, that's why Lovelace isn't involved. He's simply not ready yet. The manager did talk about him yesterday as being somebody that he was kind of watching, and he name-checked him in the presser. So I think that's the only reason he's not involved today. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Chris, obviously no Ben Davies.
No, the comment there just in from Micah mentioning Ben Davies, as we reported yesterday, and as you had on your socials as well, Ben Davies Birmingham bound. I think that's a deal that Rangers had to get done. They were also linked with a couple of defenders over the last few days. Normally, when there's Rangers being linked with players, that suggests that there's then going to be an exit. Ben Davies was the obvious one that we spoke about it on the show last week. He's a player I think who has been dispensable for quite some time. Manager clearly wants to move him on. Again, as the manager has referenced a couple of occasions, as we've spoken about, one of the higher earners within that squad. A lot of focus on Cantwell and Hadji in terms of moving on. Rangers could not go and sign another centre half without one moving on. Ben Davies was the obvious one there, so we expect Micah. We expect him to sign for Birmingham over the next couple of days, and then it's all about what Rangers can go and do in the transfer market. I mentioned the bench earlier on there, Stevie. I say it does sum up. I think this squad it needs numbers, but it needs a real injection of quality in a number of areas. Good to see some of the younger boys like Fraser, McKinnon, and Rice, but that's not a squad as it stands. That's going to go and challenge the title.
It's not. But what I will say is this: to give us a slight bit of credit, right? And I know that's an alien concept, but say they did shift on Ben Davies and they got rid of Rabbi Matondo and Hadji and Cantwell. Now that's a lot to ask for this week. I get it. It's a lot of deals and I get it. But that's almost all your high earners when you chuck in Lundstrom, Goldson, Barisic,
Roof.
When you come out Roof, right, who are getting far too much money. You're talking about in the region of 8 to 10 players all on 25 to 30 grand getting moved out of the club. Now, the saving for that, people that are better at maths than me will know straight away how much that is. But it's a lot of money, Chris.
It's a couple of million.
And I said the other day about accepting maybe £1 million for Rabbi Matondo. My basis of accepting that wasn't just for £1 million profit. You're saving the best part of £1.5 million in wages for 2 years that he's got left in his contract. That's what I'm trying to think about. And people are then asking, why are we getting this money? Where's this money coming from? But if you're all of a sudden saving £10 million on wages a year, you can afford to pay things up. You can afford to give £3 million and do these kind of things. So it doesn't surprise me. Derek and I spoke about it yesterday about getting linked with a young fella that plays out in Spain, and about getting linked with him. And I said, somebody has to be going if we're getting linked. And we went through it, and I said, the only real one that you'd look to move on is Ben Davies. I would be very surprised if it was John Suter. So Davies, I think, looks like the most sensible one. So, yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful that shift some out and get some in. Because as you pointed out, getting back to the original point in the bench, you're very thin on it, aren't you? And you can people like Kieran Dowell can survive in the squad if you get rid of the other ones. You know what I mean? And that to me is fine. You're looking at if things don't go well, things have to go well. See if they don't go well today, but see if they don't, you're looking at McCausland and Danilo, and that's difficult. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot of work to do. This is a big week, Chris. But I was buoyed by. I was enthusiastic by the manager's comments yesterday when he said that he's confident of deals this week, because he seemed quite. He's never going to go out and say yeah, but I think
he's never going to say I'm going to sign a centre half, a midfielder, and a striker. He's not going to get involved in numbers. He's not going to get involved in positions.
See if you look at Davies, Matondo, Hadji, and Cantwell. See 3 of the 4 of them go. I can live with that. And if you can get 2 in for that are going to be first team players, I think we've done well there. But they need to be first team quality starters. So then you would have proper Czerny and 2 more that are actually, along with Barron, that are first team starters and properly. And I think that bench and I think the first team would look a lot more healthier. It's not where we need it to be, but it's on
the right track.
The trajectory, isn't it? So
I think the other thing I would say about the squad manager mentioned, we're both at the press conference yesterday, he was asked about injuries, and also Raskin coming back, Cortes coming back. Yep. So yes, it does look slightly thinner today, but by this time next week, once the window is closed, if you can get Cortes back, you can get Ridvan back within that 4 to 6 weeks. The manager has outlined these players to come back and a couple in. Not that we're asking for much here, but if that happens, then the squad will look.
He did say, didn't he?
Will look better.
He did say the only one missing for next weekend, hopefully, touchwood, should only be Yilmaz. So, yeah, we are. We're hopeful that things will look a lot better. But yeah, I'm hopeful of a big week, Chris. Like, I think it has to be a big week. Otherwise, we're going to go into every game like this and we're going to say, well, Lawrence is starting, Matondo's starting, we know what we're going to get, etc. And I'd like to be a wee bit more kind of enthusiastic about what we're seeing. So I think they've had their opportunity, haven't they? So
again, the manager mentioned yesterday, I was asked yesterday about the potential. This is the final game here at Hampden. We've been here for a couple of them now.
He loves that question about Hampden, doesn't he?
It's been one of last season. It was the injury update that was the theme of the presser. This year it has been the Hampden question. All going well, this could potentially be the final game here. You had some pictures of the work at Ibrox on your socials yesterday. Sorry, it looks as if it's progressing nicely. It looks positive. I think we all want to be back at Hampden, but for cup semi-finals, don't really want to be back here too often for domestic games, and certainly not for European games. So fingers crossed this is the last one. But nice to sign off, as we said right at the start of the show. Nice to sign off with a result, but a performance as well, just to give. It would make such a difference heading into this bid week if you can get a result, get a performance, get a couple of players out, get a couple of players in, and then the Old Firm game. People go into that one not quite as downbeat as perhaps they are or they have been at other stages of this season. So a big week has to get off to an encouraging start.
Yeah, it has. Going back to the Ibrox thing and the pictures of yesterday, I think that we're making good progress in terms of John Bennett's timeline. I think that, that's everything off the pitch. So the pitch needs 3 weeks. And, we're confident that that's going to be okay for them. And in the stadium, in the meantime, I think you'll see the seats. Honestly, I think in a week's time, all the seats will be back the way it should be. And cosmetically, looking at it from outside, I think it will be okay. Inside is where they need to fix the concourses, because not only have they moved, obviously the stairs, that then affects inside and stuff like that. So there's a wee bit of work to do, but on timeline wise, I think we're looking okay. Obviously, the club don't want to commit to it. We need to get the proper licenses back in and things like that. Once that happens, it'll be great to be back at Hampden. And yes, league game wise, this has to be the last time we're here, because Joshua is running out of excuses for weekends off. You know what I mean? So he's had more family birthdays in the last couple of weeks than he has had ever.
That's why the guy said to us earlier on, why I said he was away at a wedding this week. Somebody said, how many weddings does he go to? So people are now wondering where he is, but no, he will be back on duty.
Of course he'll be back when we're at Ibrox. You'll see Joshua. So yeah,
Josh will be back. It's just us that get dispatched to Hampden. But on that note, join myself and Stevie post match, hopefully after a good Rangers performance.
Are we doing a prediction?
Are we going to go 5 now?
I'm not going to go 5 now. I said yesterday 3 and John Suter to score at any time. So I'm going for a goal from a corner, Chris.
No, you are asking.
You're chucking me off.
You're asking for Rangers to be back at Ibrox. You're asking for high earners to be out. You're asking for new signings to come in, and you want the team to score for a corner. I think you're being overly optimistic. But on that overly optimistic note, I say join myself and Stevie after the game and enjoy. Thank you.